Hello and welcome back to Pandemic Playground with Dave. So we are going to continue our space survival adventure here on the alien planet by first bringing back a whole bunch of ice to our respawn pod to charge up its hydrogen to pretty much fill up gas. Alright, so behind us, this is the pretty much the hole I drilled. It kind of drilled down to stone. And we grabbed as much ice as possible. Eventually I started drilling a little diagonally so we don't get these stone. And it made these kind of random holes, which looks pretty interesting. The truck itself, it's pretty much filled with ice. As you see here, the whole large cargo is filled with ice. A little bit of stone. I dumped a few earlier, but I couldn't dump all of them. And we do have O2, H2 generators here to produce hydrogen for our engine in the front, as you see here. That's running. So that's giving us like 2 years of energy for this truck, which is wonderful. But this thing is super heavy, so I'm not sure how this thing's gonna operate. But the next step is bringing this back to the economy base, back to our respawn pod, which is where is it? It is right there. It's 8.31 kilometers away, and I was flying around a little bit to kind of see which direction would be best to get back. So there was two plots of direction or routes. One was in front of me, and one is back the way we came from originally from the last episode. So just to give you an idea, going into spectator mode, if we were to go forward, you're gonna see a nice flat path. Would be awesome to get back to the economy base. And then it's a bit of a hill here, which is not too bad. Should be able to climb that, but you run into this situation where you go down this hill and then it's pretty much a dead end. This truck with that weight likely cannot climb something like this, and there's a lot of jagged edges here too. But if it could do that, the base is going to be right over there. So once it climbs over the steep hill, it has a little bit more to go, and then the economy base would be here. So that was one way of doing it. So the current route and option I'm going to take is going back from where I came from, and that is hugging this mountain towards the left of me right here, and go up these little bit of hills and get as flat as possible. And then once we hit a certain point, we're going to have to climb a little bit more to get up to the economy base. So once we get to this point, we gotta kind of drop down and make a left. So we go this way. We have a nice little pathway, a little bit rough, but it goes towards this way, make a right, and we can go to our economy base. The other option I looked at is make it a right, but if you make a right, it is a little more treacherous right over here, but I mean the only really entry point is this. So that may not be ideal, but we can try either one if that doesn't work out, but definitely cannot go over that way. So it's going to be a bit of a struggle. So let's see how that goes. All right, so we're back in our truck, and the wheels, I set it up a little bit strangely, I guess you can call it. Feel free to comment below and let me know how you would set up your wheels to carry such a load so that it can move. So what I did so far, I know you can adjust all your wheels individually. I tend to get lazy and adjust them all at once. So I put the power in max, increase the strength to 30. I think I probably should bump that up a little bit. Put the offset at negative 1.5 just to bring up the wheels or the whole truck. I left the friction at 50. Speed limit's at 100. I could probably increase that if I wanted to. And then I left everything alone, like propulsion and steer. So if you have an optimal way of doing this, that'll be pretty cool if you want to leave a comment down below. But right now, I think this thing moves pretty well. It's very slow because it's carrying a lot of weight, I would assume, unless it is the speed limit. But you'll see that it's backwards heavy. It's carrying a whole bunch of weight. So what is that? Carrying about 3.6 million kgs of weight, and that's mostly ice and some stone. And that's probably not ideal. So we're gonna have to cross through here. So we're gonna back up and then make it go forward, basically. And since it's back heavy, I feel like I should bring up the hinge so that it can balance it out a little bit in the front. So if we bring up the hinge this way and then make it go forward, I think we'll be kind of more balanced. Not too much, but a little bit. I mean, to really balance it out, I probably have to add some ice into those drills where it can hold it there and pretty much make this thing really well balanced. Another option is probably add a gyroscope and some thrusters going forward so it can help us with propulsion going forward, basically. And that will be awesome. So having it in front like this can act like a guard for the trees, but it might destroy the drills. Hopefully not. But if it's a possibility, what I may do is make the drill goes probably a little bit more forward so that it can deal with the trees going along. And we could possibly drill down a bit of a hill to make it flat so we can travel that way. I mean, that could be an idea. We could just right click to flatten out some things. Hold right click and use the drill to flatten out some areas so we could probably travel a little bit better. And we can move the hinges around to build that. So that is a possibility that we can explore. But I think I want to go with the thrusters and gyroscope option first if this doesn't work out. So we are about 8 kilometers away from the base and the respawn pod. So I want to get closer before I can go ahead and grab those materials, because traveling from here to there with just your jetpack, I have like 300 bottles on me, but still it takes forever, and any more material is going to take forever to go back and forth at that distance. So hopefully we can travel a little bit closer to it and be able to put on those thrusters and gyroscopes. Maybe we don't even need it. We'll see how it goes. But we're going to push on and see how far we get without those adjustments. Alright, so we didn't get too far, unfortunately. It's a slow crawl. On the little hole. It's a slow crawl, and I feel like we need to add some thrusters to make this go a little bit faster. Because right now it's taking forever. I didn't even make it that far from the ice lake, as you see here. So I'm going to have to make the trip to the respawn pod. Probably make multiple trips and come back and retrofit it with some thrusters. Maybe a gyroscope, not sure yet. Let's see how things go, but I'm just going to fly back and get stuff and be right back. And we're set. Alright, so we traveled back and forth. I think we did three rounds back and forth because it takes, in terms of materials, I can only carry enough materials for 2 thrusters at a time. So it took a bit of time, but I think it had to happen. So now we have 6 thrusters total on this thing here. And we should be able to make it back, hopefully, a little bit more ease. I did retract our drilling system, so it makes it less top heavy, just in case. But let's see how things go from here. So let's just hop in our cockpit and start moving forward. we made it back to the respawn ship, which is great. Had a little minor hiccup where we actually lost batteries to keep going with our thrusters. So I had to add a reactor. I added some extra batteries, sat there for a while to charge up before proceeding, and we finally made it. So yeah, that took forever, and that was, you know, kind of fun, kind of not in some ways. The whole sitting there for a good 20 or so minutes to recharge wasn't that fun, but we made it. We're finally here. So now our second task is to connect this into this connector. Alright, so we got the connector on the truck, and we attached it to one of the joints here with the conveyor junction and a connector. And we slowly use the joints to move a little bit down more. So this one connected from the cargo containers, moved it down and move this one up above where it used to do, and then connected it into the back by driving in slowly forward. So that was the best way to connect it. I'm not sure what's going on now. As you see here, it's just rocking back and forth, back and forth. Should probably unhook the truck from the ship because it is making it go a little bit crazy, and it is potentially because of the thrusters. Not too sure, but we're probably gonna have to check that out. Let's see if that is the case. No, the thrusters are off. If I put it on, would it help? I put on the atmospheric and iron thrusters, and it's helping a little bit. If I put on the hydrogen, it's not really doing much, to be honest. Not too sure why it's rocking, but we gotta make sure to move all the ice into the O2 generators on the ship so that we can get more hydrogen. So our hydrogen is looking okay from what I last saw. Hydrogen tank is filling up 23%, another 23% for the second large hydrogen tank. These smaller ones are slowly filling up as well, so it's getting there. It looks like some tanks are not connected because we probably crashed that one when we crashed at one point in the front. So some of it's probably not aligned or connected to it. My smaller vehicle or rover finally flipped off of the front only because this thing's rocking back and forth for some weird reason. So other than that, I grabbed a few more acquisition missions or contracts. So once I have enough power, I'm just gonna link up onto this connector, get as much space credits as possible, and see what we could do with those millions of space credits. The good news is that it kind of settled down and not bouncing around, but we still gotta oh, spoke too soon. So I think we can wait this out, make sure all the ice is transferred, and then we can make our move. But it's gonna take some time to really wait for it to go through. I think we have enough O2s to do it, but it still seems a little slow. Let's just hope this doesn't flip over based on what's going on with this rocking though, to be honest. Alright, so it seems to be taking quite some time for the ice or hydrogen to fill up in tanks. And that is probably because we have two large hydrogen tanks. We do have a large number of O2H2 generators, so we should kind of speed it up. Not sure exactly what's going on, but maybe that's just the way it is. I'm just being very impatient. But this truck has now a lot less ice. So 223k there. This one has 1,000 still. And this one has 437. Okay, so that's not too bad. We probably want to make this one a little more heavier. So I'm going to throw some ice in this section for now. I mean, it probably won't do too much. But what I'm going to do is actually going to disconnect the truck really quick, because I think we have more than enough ice. And let's return the hinges back to its rightful way, with the compact way. So probably gotta reverse everything to make sure. And I have the hinge locks on 7, 8, and 9, so that's how I'm stopping them, as you see here. So that's a decent way of doing that. And we're gonna use this one. And I think we might have to get rid of the connector. Actually, no. I think we're okay with the connector being there. If the connector's there, it's starting to look more and more like an odd shape. But if the connector's there, it should kind of land right around here, which is okay. So we can leave it there. Wouldn't be an issue. Oh, we'll land it right here instead, so a lot further than I thought. So that works out pretty compact. I do like the sci-fi paint at night. It looks pretty cool because it kind of stands out and you can see it. Maybe I should have done the whole truck that way because the front has it too, and it looks pretty damn awesome. But this has become probably like an ice vehicle, and if I want to get uranium, which is over there, I might use this truck to do so, or maybe I should just fly around to do that. Since we already have something to get ice, we should be okay to fly around, but it might not be ideal at the moment because we do lose a lot of hydrogen fairly quickly on the alien planet, and with the amount of ice that we have. So that can potentially be an issue. So right now we stored all the ice. I still think we have a lot of ice still in the system. 142 in the cargo, and all the O2s are kind of still generating them as quickly as possible. Hydrogen tanks, again, it's about 50%, 46% so far. I think the small hydrogen tanks are very useless for a large ship like this, even though I put so many, because both large hydrogen tanks at 46%, and the hydrogen is reading at 46 down here. So that kind of tells me it's picking up more from the large hydrogen tanks than it is the smaller ones. But I guess that's just the way it is. Alright, so I think we have more than enough hydrogen now to pick ourselves up, get connected, and make us some money. And connect. Alright, so now we can turn off all our thrusters, including the atmospheric thrusters. We are hanging on, which is perfect. And we should be here for a little bit. I think the ship will drop down eventually because I think these things are on a timer. This connector is on a timer, and it will unlock eventually. And when it does that, I mean, not much is going to happen. It's just going to fall a little bit. Not significant. So we should be okay. We're going to leave the truck outside so we can get some ice that way. Hopefully nothing comes in and destroys it. But kind of prefer to leave outside, although it is kind of wiggling, so let's leave it. If it wiggles and flips itself, it's probably easier to flip it over from outside than it would be inside. So we'll just have to deal with that. We're going to have to build something to push this. Or maybe I can use my large ship to push this outside, because I cannot get this moving anywhere because it has iron thrusters and not atmospheric thrusters or hydrogen thrusters, and I can't build in here, so that ship is pretty much screwed. But anyways, let's finish up what we pretty much came here to do, aside from getting uranium, and that is making millions of space credits, or SC. So let's turn in all the acquisitions that we acquired, or you know, instead of doing that, let's acquire some more acquisitions, to be honest. So let's get that. I don't want to do that one. Don't want to do that one. Thruster components. I don't know if we can afford this, but let's just do it anyways. Destruction components we can do. We can't do that one. More displays and silicone ore. No, interior plates. Okay. So what we've been doing is pretty much in the last, I would say, few minutes or so, I've been coming in here to see if they recycle the acquisitions, and I gathered as many as I can. So that is how many acquisition contracts I have now. So let's finish them off by going to finish, select my respawn spaceship or pod, confirm, and donate, not donate, but make a profit by giving these things up. Alright, so that was the last acquisition contract completed. It's probably cycled already, but I'm not going to do any more because I think we have more than enough space credits for whatever we need, and we kind of emptied out our ship as much as possible, which is a good thing and a bad thing. So when I say, so when I'm looking back into my spaceship here, our cargo container, our large one at least, large cargo container, is now not as full as it used to be, which is good. So that was the main reason why I did the acquisition contracts. One, to remove some stuff as much as possible so we could get or become a space credit millionaire, I guess you can say, in a weird odd way. So I have 21 million SC space credits, I think it's called, and I was able to reduce my cargo load by a lot, because it used to be completely filled and some of the small cargo containers were completely filled as well, but now we have a fairly decent cargo and not too filled, which is perfect. So the ship is not as heavy, especially if we're gonna load it up with some ice. But the other thing is that I am planning to change this ship up, make it look a lot different, design it more efficiently instead of having this little crowded space and things like that. So I do want to change the ship. So this ship itself has more than enough parts to do so. So getting rid of all those parts I had before just for space credits was perfectly fine. But of course, if we need more for whatever reasons, we can always find them on the alien planet, except for metal grids. But I think we have 881 metal grids is perfectly fine, and all the hydrogen thrusters that I have, that's a lot of metal grids itself too. So that shouldn't be too bad, to be honest. So there's a lot more to do, to be honest. One is, okay, so that just dropped. As I mentioned before, there's a timer on these things, so they will eventually drop. It's perfectly fine for now. I'll pick it up later. Alright, as always, thank you guys for watching. Please continue to hit that subscribe button to support this channel while we make as many Space Engineers videos as much as possible for you guys' entertainment. Of course, if you enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up, like the video, hit that notification bell to be alerted of upcoming videos, and of course, leave some comments for us too. And as always, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.